Well, to give us some analysis of the speech that was delivered by Deputy President David Mabuza in KwaZulu-Natal, I'm joined in our Durban studios by Advocate Sonwabile Manguchwa. Thanks very much for joining us again. What did you make of the Deputy President's speech on Heritage Day?
A very groundbreaking speech. I should think if we all have to do is to really put a program of action to implement what has been raised. I can actually coin the speech with a singular expression. Heritage or arts, culture and heritage as a strategic resource to nation building and national identity. And as we think the Deputy President's speech painted that picture, of the importance of arts, culture, and then heritage, and I think also if you look at the manner in which he mentioned, the restoration and then unity, of the Greek war, and then the role that they played, mentioning the renaming of the municipality. Not just as gestures, but recognizing the importance. And of course, Adam Koch, the third. You know that there's always been a complaint over the years of Khoisan people that they are on the periphery, and their culture has not been recognized in their languages. I should think it's a start in the right direction to recognize them, because you cannot have nation building or a successful nation building without their inclusion, or because if you exclude them, because they are saying over many years of colonialism they have been excluded, they have been obliterated through instruments, political instruments. By the previous government. Then they have been saying that even this government is continuing, that isolation of the Khoians and communities. I think it was very much important, not just as a gesture, to say that there's commitment towards that, but at the same time, one highlight in this speech has been to emphasize on the issue of land. Because there shall be no, or there can be no peace in our country without restoration of that issue. If you are to avoid another rebellion, the issue of land as part of heritage, because in various platforms, whenever I talk about land, even the issue of land expropriation without compensation, it's not linked properly to heritage as part of our land. There are communities in this country that cannot even practice their rituals because so-and-so has closed the farm and somebody is in a holiday, in America and so forth. And you find that people can't go to visit the graves because they're not accessible. There's heritage in private hands. So you have got to use, as the Deputy President has highlighted, heritage as an important angle if you are to deal with, expropriation of land. And then also go further to say that how was this land taken away, from the wars of dispossession that were fought by our forebearers? You're talking up here about 150 years. I think you mentioned the role of our traditional leaders, because in many occasions, we focus on the recent liberation struggle to the disadvantage of a very rich, heritage and culture, and the whole issue of land dispossession. I think this speech there was emphasis on that land is part of heritage. How to ensure that heritage in the land is actually understood, and land as part of heritage is actually understood. Because you see, for instance, that we had a civilization in this country that was so intact, and most of our idioms are linked on land, are linked to farming. And why is it like that? It is because of the closeness of our people to land. And so this speech, I think, has highlighted that. and the whole issue of unity and diversity of our cultures. And lastly, you will recall that during the first term of our democracy, culture was used for to enhance unity, reconciliation, most especially as part of the reconciliation effort as led by President Nelson Mandela. I think our government is beginning now to recognize the fact that without real emancipating the voices, these silent voices, you cannot build a nation. So heritage, I think this speech recognizes that it's not just for us to celebrate on the 24th of September. It's an important part of our national discourse.
Advocate, thank you very much for that summary and that analysis. We're going to leave it there. That was Advocate Sonwabile. He's from the Heritage Council. Now, Mlungisi Kumalo is standing by.